Okay, well, welcome back, everyone, to the channel. I'm going to try to keep my head down like this because you can see the screens and my glasses here, and I'm trying not to do that too much. I'm trying to get some better video quality out here for you. But I thought I'd let you know that I'm thinking about doing a new series, and actually I'm committing to doing a new series, which is why I'm doing this now like this. Um, I'm I know the sound isn't the best and the video right now isn't quite the best. I do have a better microphone somewhere. I gotta find it to make these, but I wanted to uh, get this made and out there to kind of announce what I'm doing, what I'm intending, and try to keep myself accountable to doing it. One of the things that I've struggled with quite a bit has been um, focusing on something uh, that I feel is worth my time. And I don't mean that in like an arrogant way. I mean, there are so many things that I'm interested in, so many things that I want to learn about, that I get so caught up in trying to figure out which one to start with. I end up starting none of them and I end up wasting a whole bunch of time. And so I'm not a huge fan of that model because it hasn't been working, because I haven't really done anything. And instead, my obsessive nature has been honing in on things that um, don't need an obsessive mind toward. Um, and even to the point where, like, I'll start playing a video game and I'll try to stream a video game, and I won't be able to do it all in one sitting, but later on I'll come back and do it all in one sitting, and then I'll be burnt out of the game or of gaming in general, and then it's like, okay, well, do I keep gaming and providing the content even though I'm not enjoying it, or do I, what am I going to do now with my time? I end up spending my time on a lot of time wasting phone apps, games, like things that like are fidget spinners for the mind. Just click, 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 and they don't really add any kind of value to my life. And so I decided that I was going to take this knack that I have of getting super distracted and being unhappy with my decision of what I'm going to study, and apply it to some sort of a model. Um, and so what I have come up with is, first off, I'm probably not going to be using Twitch anymore, or very much, just because oh, sorry, I am so sorry. I don't know if I'll be able to edit that out. I'm very tired. Um, I don't know if I don't know if I'll be on Twitch all that much. I did a kind of some revamping to my YouTube channel, made a nice little backdrop, figured out how to use Adobe Illustrator a little bit, made my icon for my YouTube channel, which if you don't know is a K and an H laid on top of each other, as my first and last name initials. Um, and Yeah, so I really want the focus to be more YouTube, and I do have a Twitter and an Instagram associated with it, and so I figure I could, post stuff out on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube of the things that I'm doing, because the majority of the stuff that I want to do isn't on the computer. It isn't gaming. It isn't anything that takes place while I'm sitting here as I am right now. And instead, it takes place out there, out in the real world. And so it's kind of hard to do that on Twitch. I know people do a lot of IRL, just chatting streams, and I don't really want to do that. I want to be able to, make a bunch of cuts, do a bunch of takes, splice things together, take the best pieces that I want, learn how to do that, and make something that I can be proud to put my name on, that isn't just like flung out there into space. And so what I am doing, what I am committing to doing, and I spent some time coming up with this the last couple of nights, actually just last night, and I've been thinking about it a lot today. And so here I am, and here it is. This is my Expert in a Month series item list. So the idea here is that I am going to be studying one thing, specifically one thing for a month, 1 month. And I am going to be focusing all of my extra time and energy on that one thing for the entire month. And I'm going to be doing daily video logs of how things are going, progress reports, things that I'm learning and understanding about the topic that I've chosen, and some things that I don't understand, things that are confusing to me. And at the end of the month, I will basically sit down and say, okay, here's what I thought of it. Here's what I want to keep doing with it. Here's what I don't want to keep doing with it. And here's the likelihood that I'll continue to follow up on this and continue to look at it. And so some of these are more or less set up in a way to help me accomplish goals that I had set up weeks ago or months ago, and other ones are more for things that I really am interested in doing, but don't have a means of doing it right now. And I don't have a means of doing it not because I don't have access to it. Living in the age of information and technology, I have absolutely access to doing all of these things. It's a matter of setting aside the time and the commitment to looking into them and actually undertaking these activities. And so the first thing that I'm going to be focusing on, that I am focusing on, that I'm starting today, and I have started today on, is restorations. I have access to a few things that need some restoring around where I'm currently living. I'm living in a little apartment behind, like in a shop, basically behind my parents' house in Washington during the pandemic. And there are a bunch of things around the house, around the shop and the yard and the property that are kind of old or deprecated or not functional anymore, but they have a lot of sentimental value. And so one of the things I've already taken apart, and I need to put more time and effort into restoring it because I've taken it apart. I've stripped off a lot of the paint, not all of the paint, and I need to finish that. I need to sand it. I need to bang out all the dents on it, and I need to repaint it, put everything back together, make sure it's functioning and working, and then call it good. As well as some wooden benches that we've had for 20 plus years that are just kind of gathering dust, and today it's actually gathering snow, and other little things like that I need to sand down, and some cracks I need to fill in with some epoxy. And I've never done stuff like that before, like with the epoxy specifically, and so I'm looking to learn how to do that and to become very familiar with it. So the basic model of what it is that this is probably going to look like is that the first day or two of each of these month time periods, I'm going to spend kind of researching and figuring out what this is going to look like for the rest of the month. And then the last 2 or 3 days of the month are going to be spent assessing what I've done the last 4 weeks and figuring out if it's something that I want to keep pursuing in the future, or if I have gone to the limit that I want to for the particular topic. So yeah, starting off with restorations, and we're starting off in the middle of the month here on February 14th, the Happy Love Day, and I am going to be going until March 14th, maybe March 15th because of the fewer days in February. But after that, I'm going to be switching over into strength training, and this is for a few reasons. And like, this isn't just working out. Like, don't get me wrong, working out is good. Strength training, like, I am going to be kind of hard focusing on everything I can to maximize gains and reduce body fat. And so everything that I eat and drink and do and think about is going to be specifically aimed at building up muscle and losing fat. Whereas in the past, when I've done strength training, it's like, okay, well, I got some free weights. I'm just going to lift some free weights until my arms or legs are tired or my back is tired, and then I'll call it good. And then a few days later, I kind of repeat that. No, I want this to be like, Hugh Jackman going Wolverine, having to exercise 2 or 3 times a day, eating tons of chicken and broccoli, in spite of the fact that I hate broccoli. And doing as much as I can to increase my understanding, awareness, and appreciation for strength training. So I'll do that from the middle of March to the middle of April. And then woodworking. I have some tools that I would love to use more of, and hopefully if I'm still up in Washington and have access to this big shop, I'll be able to do a lot more. I'd love to do some stuff with my truck bed and make some stuff to make it easier for camping and such in my truck. And I can fit a twin mattress in the bed of my truck, and I like to make a little headboard that I can put up in there to help keep things stable. And there's all sorts of little projects I can do for woodworking that would keep my mind and body interested. Then moving into creative writing. And this one, this one's going to be a little bit harder to make videos on because, I could basically do videos of the other things, but I'm not going to like video desktop capture, I guess, my writing process. Maybe I will for little bits and pieces or piece together some of my process for writing and coming up with stories. But this will likely be a series of short stories, and then likely that I will, if I have people that are interested in what I'm doing, maybe I'll even do some contests and have people's usernames submitted as main characters in stories of topics of their choosing. And then wood art and models, this is different than woodworking. Woodworking I think of as more of a larger project. Like if I want to build a canoe, I'd consider that woodworking. But if I'm going to do some like super ornate detailing down the side of the canoe, I would consider that as kind of wood art or models. So I have a bunch of precision tools and sculpting tools that I would like to put into use. And so I'd like to do that with this, and even a soldering iron that I can put into use here. From there, I'm looking at drone programming. I got a drone for my birthday, which happened to be a week ago, and actually I just checked the date. It's the 13th, not the 14th. 14th is tomorrow. Man, I'm tired. But I love the idea of autonomy in a drone, meaning that if I have a drone that has video capability and it needs to be charged up in a particular fashion, I would love to figure out a way to have the drone launch itself off at a certain time of day, go and do a sweep of a perimeter, and dock itself to charge again without me having to touch it, and upload files to a cloud or to a hard drive somewhere, and have that kind of go on repeat. I would love to do something like that. But it's a lot of work and a lot of time commitment to figure something like that out. And so I have that as a month in and of itself. Off-grid survival, I love Survivor Man and the Bear Grylls stuff, even though the Bear Grylls stuff ended up being a bit of a less reality TV and more just TV. But I would like to do some actual off-grid survival classes or trials. Some dispersed camping would be a good time. And then meditation, energy breathing. This is like yoga, breathing exercises. There's a lot of interesting stuff if you go and look at breathing and controlling your breath and stuff that your body can go through. If you take a look up, I think his name is Wim Hof, and even David Blaine, the illusionist, the magician, goes into talking about controlling your breath and things that you can do with it. Veganism. I've never wanted to try veganism. This isn't something that I am even remotely curious about. The reason why that it's up here is from a health perspective, it's probably something I should explore because of my my struggle with food in general. If I can gain a better appreciation for things like vegetables, which I hate, then perhaps it can help correct some bad habits that I tend to have. And for those out there that are like, oh, you just haven't had the right vegetables or haven't had them prepared in the right way, that is a bunch of bull crap. My mother is a chef. She has made vegetables for me my entire life in all sorts of ways and fashions, and they just don't taste good. Like, their base taste is awful. Their flavor profile, to me, it tastes like the rear end of a state fair smells. Like, it just tastes like crap. And that, to say that you just haven't had the right recipe is would almost be like me saying, well, let me just crap into a pot and throw some herbs and spices in there and see how much you like it, because to me that is how it feels, and that's how it tastes. But I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to do my best to eat crap for a month and see how it goes. But I'm going to be ending just before Thanksgiving here, as you can see. It's mid-October to mid-November, and then mid-November to mid-December for learning to play the guitar, seeing how far I can go from being nothing to a month into playing the guitar every day, getting calluses on my fingers, learning some songs, things like that. But I'll be getting done with my veganism tour just before Thanksgiving, which will be amazing to end this particular chapter leading into that. And then there are some other things along here that are more or less talent-based and kind of going from zero to hero and figuring out how to do. I used to take piano lessons. I did for a few years. I still remember how to read music. I'm not super great with individual finger coordination on a piano, but I am great with it on a keyboard, so it leads me to believe that there's something still there in muscle memory. I am a drummer. I haven't played drums regularly in over a decade, so I need to get back into doing that. Vocals, hopefully with doing daily recordings, I will start to hone in my voice and how I want my voice to sound. I remember some journalism courses I took at the University of Utah, and some of the recording devices that we had. And I remember that I did my best to transform my voice in the middle of the semester to see if I could make my voice a little bit more favorable. And so I'm going to try to do it right now. But my teacher was Dan Bomas, and he's an NPR broadcaster. And he has an amazing voice, a very deep voice, but it's very clear and concise, and I could probably listen to him read a book for hours. But, okay. I don't know if I'll be able to do this for the rest of the broadcast, but for the bits and pieces that I can remember, I will say that I'm trying my best right now to focus specifically on the way that my voice is coming out of my mouth and the way that the particular aspects of my mouth are playing in accordance with one another. I'm trying my best not to mutter or murmur while I am speaking and try to keep things as clear and concise as possible. And for that, I am struggling quite a bit, so I'm going to stop. So try to make the voice a little bit more full, a little bit more accented. But I need to do some better exercises to get this into a good place. And this isn't just speaking, this is singing as well. I believe they kind of go hand in hand. So I'll be focusing on that there. Beatboxing, dancing, backpacking, cosplay. These are, honestly, actually, from about here, this is where things started getting a little bit, iffy, if I am going to go there, especially into veganism. But I did put it at kind of closer to the top of the list because, again, of health reasons. But I have a nephew who likes beatboxing, so I'd love to directly following vocals after doing a bunch of mouth exercises and warm-ups to go directly into beatboxing when I probably have the best chance and opportunity of doing it, and doing it well and going from zero to wherever it is I get to in a month. Dancing, this is a really broad topic, but there is one form of dance that I have enjoyed watching quite a bit, and it might sound silly, but the Melbourne Shuffle, the kind of the electro booty swing shuffle, whether it be cutting shapes or the straight up shuffle or jump style, sure. I'd love to learn how to do that. It looks like it's pretty hard on the knees and hips, so if I start struggling with it, I might switch over to something a little bit more traditional, a form of ballroom maybe. But yeah, that's what dancing means. Backpacking. I love the idea of taking a backpack and going camping for a month, of having a tent, sleeping bag, everything kind of lightweight, starting from location A, getting to location F over the course of a month, and figuring out things as I go. I would love to do something like that. And so that's kind of what this is focusing on right here, is doing everything that I can of focusing on backpacking life. I have people that I know of who have backpacked across Europe. I'm not saying that's something that I want to do. It would be interesting to try to do, but it doesn't seem like it would. I don't think I could do it in a month. It seems Europe is a pretty big place. I don't know if I could backpack / walk across Europe in a month. I'd have to sit in and do some math on it. And then cosplay. With all these other things that I'll have put some time into, vocals, modeling and woodworking, being kind of hands-on creative, learning about chemicals and the way they interact with each other. Doing some sort of cosplay to kind of wrap everything up just seems like a fun idea. Maybe even having a contest at the end of saying, okay, here are some things I'm thinking of doing. Well, I'll let you all check and vote on which one you'd like me to do. And over here I have a bunch of other things, which and honestly, these things over here sound a lot more appealing than these things over here. These things are things that I deem to be a little bit more important, although I find these to be more interesting. And that isn't to say that I can't hot swap things out as I get closer to them. This is what I'm committing to right now, and this list could extend into the end of the second half of 2022 or into 2023. Not necessarily in this order, but to kind of give some idea of blacksmithing. I got a buddy who does some blacksmithing, and I would love to learn what it's like to heat up some steel, tamper it down, shape it, craft it, make a knife or a sword or something. I think that'd be a really fun project. Or smelting, taking a bunch of scrap metal, melting it down, putting it into bars, and then potentially using it to do some blacksmithing. So I might swap those. I don't know. Primitive technology, kind of going out, doing some like dispersed camping, some off-grid survival, but instead of it just being survival focused, like, I might bring McDonald's out with me one day on Primitive Tech Day, but while I'm out there, learn to make a forge out of mud and clay and ash to see if I could figure out how to engineer things from a primitive perspective. Archery, maybe get a compound bow, do some archery, maybe even see about different hunting seasons and go archery hunting for some things. Same thing with trapping, whether it be beaver or fox, maybe even coyote, I don't know. And figuring out how to do different kinds of traps and checking traps daily, and processing any of the things that I find, and maybe even some like tanning and hide hide tanning could go into this, Scuba diving, I have kind of a base fear of water, so conquering my fear of, and doing some scuba diving as well as some spearfishing would be a great combination of things. Dubstepping, this is more or less making the music, getting one of those little remix boxes, getting some songs and laying the tracks in on top of themselves and making some fun little beats and sounds. And then marksmanship, this would be more or less long range rifle shooting. Getting a rifle, going out to a range, possibly getting into a hunt and doing some long range shooting and spotting with a buddy. But yeah, these are things that I'm all fairly interested in. Now, these aren't all the things that I'm interested in. Somewhere along the lines here, like maybe after drone programming, say I get so involved with drone programming and I love it so much that I just stop everything else that I'm doing and I just focus on this for 3 months. Sure. The point of this activity, the point of this exercise is to not waste time in not doing any of these things and spending it on my phone or on some mindless computer game, but it's to focus on one of these things all the time. And if I find something that can really sink my teeth into, then running with it and plowing through it and making that a passion of mine instead of just an interest. And so yeah, that is the idea of what I'm going for. That is what I am committing to. And I have started today. I went out and got a bench grinder and a wire wheel for it to help with the removal of some excess paint from this car that I'm restoring. It's not it's like a little tin car. It's like an AMF fire engine pedal car from like the 50s or 60s. My pop has had it since he was a kid. It hasn't worked in a long time, and primarily because it looks like his dad, my grandfather, did some makeshift fixes on a few things, and he put some steel wiring around axles where there should have been pulley systems instead, and over time the metal has just rusted into place, and yeah, it's just been kind of collecting dust and rust in the corner. And I would love to see, some of his grandkids playing on it and riding it around. I think he'd get a big kick out of that. Anyway, so today I'm going to be hopefully recording me doing some of that, maybe even just getting it started. My left shoulder is bothering me quite a bit from I did some plowing this morning. We had a big snowstorm here in Washington, southeast corner. Got out the four-wheeler, and despite the four-wheeler doing all the work, my left shoulder is killing me. I do have a bone spur up there and some torn cartilage in my rotator cuff. So it's it's a little difficult sometimes. And I'm probably gonna have to do another pass at it with the snow plow before night, because it's still coming down out there. Anyway, I'm going on this. I'll be uploading, I will be uploading a video every day to show my progress on things, keep myself accountable, and to hopefully keep people interested. And if people want to add suggestions and ideas of what I could be doing to make things easier, please let me know. I'm happy to take any suggestions. And hopefully the video quality will increase over time, because I will be doing a lot of video editing, and I will be getting some better lighting for in here, probably a better backdrop, and probably some better audio instead of this thing. I do have a better microphone. I just got to find it and set it up. But I wanted to get this out there for you and let you know that this is what I'm doing now, and I'm excited for it. I'm very excited for it. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I hope you're keeping sane, and I hope that you're striving to and hitting the goals that you're setting for yourself. Keep smiling, stay happy, and we'll see you next time.